Hi, I'm Joanna Bircher and I'm a GP in Stalybridge, which is part of Tameside and Glossop CCG. I'm also the Clinical Director of the Greater Manchester GP Excellence Programme, and it's our programme that helping to support the CARE programme for developing general practice nurse skills. We're really excited to be supporting this programme, and me particularly. I've worked as a GP now for about 20 odd years and come to recognise all sorts of things about our GP practice nurses over that time, not only working within my own practice but in supporting other practices with aspects related to improvement over the last few years. And I often spot great skills in nurses and fantastic ideas amongst the nurses, but often without that confidence to really put them forward. So it's an interesting thing, general practice, isn't it? So we're lots of small businesses quite often, so even pretty large practices might only have one or two practice nurses, and when you're working in semi-isolation like that, it's sometimes a bit hard to find your voice, and this is something that the CARE programme we really want to help change, so that we can get the voice of our nurses out there more, especially with helping practices with improvements. So what do I notice about nurses? Well, I notice that you run things very efficiently often, that you're very involved in making systems and processes in practices work well. So things like immunisation programmes, flu campaigns, establishing how the long-term conditions monitoring happens, is that GP nurses are absolutely crucial to that. And often you can see ways that things are done that are really not necessarily the most efficient way, or that you can have all sorts of new ideas about how to implement it, but don't know how to get that across, either due to not having an opportunity to kind of share your ideas, or it's just become habitual that the nurses haven't been involved in decision making in practices. And I think this is a big problem because we're underutilising the skills of really important members of our healthcare team. And I think this will become more of a problem as primary care networks become established. And I can already see actually that we're slipping into old habits where GPs, managers are perhaps leading things without including the voice of our these important members of the team, you lot, our GP nurses. So there's a lot of resistance sometimes amongst certain healthcare professions to actually view themselves as leaders, and I think it's often because there's a bit of a misconception about what leading is. So leading things, it doesn't mean that you'll have to be the person that stands up in front of a room and shouts the loudest. That actually it's about being curious, having good ideas, and knowing how to gather teams together to put those ideas into practice, and you're going to be really good at that. So please have a think about enrolling on the CARE programme. It could be just what you're after to develop your career.